strengths together to make sure that power supply in the sub-region is actually at its topmost production. I'm here with the GRIDCo Boss. He is Jonathan Ewaba. Hi. Amwakoba. Hi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes. How has it gone so far, from Monday?
I would say that so far so good. We began on Monday where the various committees of the West African Power Pool met to set the agenda for today's meeting. And everything has gone on very well. On Tuesday, the committees met at a plenary where they consolidated their reports. Wednesday, we had a meeting with the donor agencies who provide the funds for the projects that the WAPP countries undertake. And yesterday, we had the executive board of the WAPP meeting to ratify the documents and the resolutions that will be presented before the General Assembly, which is happening today.
So what are some of the issues that have come up, especially when it comes to cost? Sometimes the power is available, but it's quite expensive, especially for the majority of West Africans that really are not very wealthy to be able to afford.
Well, as you rightly said, the cost of electricity in West Africa seems to be a little bit on the high side. That is the reason why we are meeting in Ghana this week. The theme for the General Assembly is regional electricity markets, ensuring West Africa integration. Our view is that when we set up this regional markets where people can bring their goods, and the goods that I'm talking about is the electricity, there will be a proper trade, and in this trading, we will try to bring the cost down.
Well, we haven't really done very well when it comes to the erratic supply of gas, for instance, at the West African gas pipeline. And so I'm just wondering how we're going to really consolidate our efforts to make sure that this one works.
Rightly so. But for this one, is the interconnection of our electricity networks. And we want to make available the transmission networks in West Africa to every country, so that if there is shortage anywhere in West Africa where we have abundance, we'll be able to supply those countries.
Exactly which countries have you found that, they are quite sufficient, and who is not sufficient, and how are we looking at this kind of integration?
There are 3 countries in West Africa that I would say are quite sufficient. Ghana is one of them, Nigeria is one of them, and Cote d'Ivoire is also another one. And, Nigeria is endowed with gas, so they can produce electricity through the thermal process, where they will burn gas to run their generators. Ghana, we are endowed with a big Akosombo. We also have some thermal plants, and we have discovered gas, which we are using to fire our thermal plants. So, and Cote d'Ivoire also the same. They have gas to fire their thermal plants. So these 3 countries are the most endowed. The rest of the countries, there are 14 mainland West African countries. The rest are not much endowed. And even if they are endowed like Guinea, they have not exploited their resources. So through this means, we are trying to also find available funds to exploit the resources that have not been harnessed, so that we can use that to produce electricity for supply to West Africa. So we will become sufficient through that.
One thing that is quite available in the sub-region is sunshine. And we were hoping that solar energy and, of course, other forms of energy apart from the usual, which is the thermal and also the hydro, would have been exploring and exploiting some of these sources. We haven't also done very well with that. Did this also come up in your deliberation?
Indeed, it did come up. During our deliberations with the funding agencies, we put to them a project to install about 100 megawatts of solar energy in Burkina Faso. Currently, Ghana has installed some solar energy plants, one in Navrongo, 2.5 megawatts, which was put there by the Volta River Authority, and another at Mankwazi, which is 20 megawatts, which was put there by a Chinese company called BSE. As we speak now, VRA has sent some people to WAPP with the intention of setting up a 12 megawatt solar plant at WAPP. And as I said, there are others like Bui Power Authority trying to put up floating solar on the Bui catchment area. They are all being done to supplement the conventional means of providing electricity, like the hydro and the thermal plants.
I'm a bit curious. Exactly why are we all supporting Burkina Faso with this 100 megawatts of solar energy?
We have what we call regional projects, and we feel that Burkina Faso is endowed with more solar. I mean, when you look at the solar maps, irradiation maps, Burkina Faso is more endowed with the solar. We also have, as I said, regional projects. Ghana, West Africa Power Pool is trying to put up a 450 megawatt thermal plant at Aboaze. West Africa Power Pool is also trying to put up another 450 megawatt thermal plant in Benin at a place called Maria Gleta. They are all regional collaboration. That the power that is put there will not serve those countries alone, like the power that is put at Aboaze by West Africa Power Pool will not serve only Ghana, but then it would be transported or transmitted all the way to Burkina Faso, to Mali, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea.
What are our excesses currently when it comes to power supply in Ghana? And I know we do some business with Ivory Coast. Which other countries are we looking at supplying, especially when we're having discussions with Power Pool at this particular conference?
It is our intention to supply Burkina Faso. We also supply Togo and Benin. We think that if we are able to do things right, we may be able to even supply Nigeria. Although Nigeria is endowed with more gas, more resources, but then their their installed capacity is not up to scratch. So we think that we can supplement their power supply by exporting to them.
Before we let you go, the president is going to be here to consolidate everything that has happened. I'm sure there are some key areas that you have outlined that you would want some level of endorsement at the presidential level for the president to also speak to his colleagues in the sub-region. Exactly what are some of the key points that you would want the president to carry away to his colleagues to make sure that implementation is done? Because all of this happens at the governmental level before it comes down to you power producers and supply.
We are talking about the regional electricity market. It's something that is very much needed, and it can only be done if we have the political assent from all the heads of states. So I believe that the president would hammer on this issue, so that there will be some harmonization. You know, we have to harmonize all the systems. We have to harmonize the laws. We have to harmonize everything that's associated with this electricity market. And I believe that the president would hammer on it so that his colleagues who are not here would hear this. And then when the time comes and the papers are presented to them for endorsement, they will be readily available. They will readily endorse the laws or the harmonization process that I'm talking about.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, and we wish you the very best with the meeting. And of course, supplying Ghana with a lot of electricity for our businesses to run at a low cost. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so we have Osman Guru Mohammed. He's the chairman of WAPP and he's the executive, he's on the executive board. Hi. Yes, you're the chairman of the executive board. All right. What are some of the things that you have been deliberating on when it comes to cost? Because it's quite expensive